Jackie Chan and Rose Byrne, Post Malone and Ice Cube, John Cena and Maya Rudolph with a lot of turtle power. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is the latest incarnation of wait for it, sit down, grab a slice of pizza, sit in the sewer for a minute. You're not going to believe this. Ignore Michael Myers over there in the sewer. Why was he in the sewer in Halloween Ends? What the hell was going on there? But sit down, you're not going to believe this. It's the latest incarnation of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The long running IP that has gone from here to here to here to woo! But yes, Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, however you say it, and the hothead Raphael, along with Master Splinter and various other villains and characters, are in this Nickelodeon-inspired version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that really had a polarizing reaction to the trailer. There were some that loved it. There were some that thought it looked weird. There were some that thought that it looked like it should have just been put on streaming. I will say this much, depending on how you feel about the animation style, that may dictate how you feel. If you really weren't that intrigued by it in the trailer, then you may not care for it on the big screen. Maybe you will. Maybe you're all ready for this. I'm trying to have some fun here, guys, because they also put a lot of song references in this. There was a remix of Four Non-Blondes. What's going on? Also, Trent Reznor had something to do with the music. Yes, that Trent Reznor. Nine Inch Nails is Trent Reznor. I don't think there's any other Trent Reznor that's really that famous. If there is, I do apologize. Maybe there's a porn incarnation of Trent Reznor where he's a 9-inch nailer. You're welcome for that. You're welcome for that. But yes, a lot of people in this cast. A lot of people. The voice of April O'Neil, I'm not going to attempt to say her name, but I will say she was fine. She was fine. Jackie Chan voices Master Splinter. Oh my gosh, Jackie Chan. Oh my gosh, Jackie Chan. Thanks. Always nice to meet a fan. I'm not going to do the accents like they did in that Family Guy bit because that was really offensive in retrospect. Natasha Demetrio, who I've seen in a couple things. Rose Byrne, who I've loved pretty much since the first Insidious. Even if I didn't love the Insidious movies, look at Rose Byrne. Look at her. You can't help but like her. John Cena, literally in a role you can't see. Seth Rogen, who also had something to do with writing this movie, from, perpetual teenager or infinite teenager Seth Rogen. I forget how they said it in the trailer. And, yeah, other people. There were 3 other writers for this. No, I take that back. There were 4 other writers for this. It took 5 people to write this, including Evan Goldberg, who did not headbutt a locker to get himself all hyped up, and did not kick Bret Hart in the head. Jeff Rowe, who also helped co-direct this along with Kyler Spears. And Dan Hernandez, not Keith Hernandez, there's no Just for Men going on here, and Benji Summit. I hope I said that right. If not, I do apologize. Seth Rogen voices Bebop. John Cena voices Rocksteady. Maya Rudolph, noted moron, who has brain parasites in his head and is a terrible actor and a halfway decent rapper, Ice Cube. Seriously, just look at a lot of the shit that he's saying. He clearly was CTE'd a lot. Or maybe Ghosts of Mars broke him. I know it broke me. Post Malone is in this. Somebody told me Post Malone is a rapper. And then I checked out some of Post Malone. And if that's what rap is, holy shit, we are doomed. As far as the voices of the Ninja Turtles, Leonardo was done by Nicholas Canta. I would have preferred a British person saying that. That would have been a lot funnier. Brandon Noon, even though it's currently about 1:30 p.m. when I'm recording this, he voices Raphael. And then Michael Abbey, not of Downtown Abbey, not of Abbey Road. There's no Strawberry Fields Forever. He voices Donatello, and Shannon Brown Jr. does Michelangelo. So yeah, basically this is a hodgepodge of an origin story. How the Turtles were created and all this other stuff, and how these villains came to be, and also how the Turtles had to grow up, and they really just threw all this stuff together in a weird animation style, and it kind of was comic book-like, I guess. I guess that's what they were going for. And basically, the Turtles had to figure out how to stop, a bunch of mutants from trying to unleash a catastrophe in the city that they call home, even though humans think that they're just freaks. So yeah, pretty much it's every Ninja Turtle movie or cartoon that you've seen. The original cartoon holds a place in my heart. I will say that right now. And the theme is very iconic. I fully recognize that the show wasn't all that great in retrospect. I mean, there are moments that still hold up, and then other moments where I'm like, that was rough. The 3 live-action movies weren't great. Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go. They did have Kevin Nash as Super Shredder. That was nice. And they've done other ones. I mean, Michael Bay had something to do with either directing or producing, I forget which, those 2 Turtle movies. And those weren't good. The turtles looked like they were like 25,000 feet tall. I didn't understand it. It was like the Cloverfield monster at the end of the Cloverfield paradox was trying to be a Ninja Turtle. And they are Nickelodeon, Paramount, they're apparently producing more Ninja Turtle content, such as Mutant Mayhem, and apparently have already greenlit a sequel. And I'm far enough into the review to say, why? Why would you want to greenlight a sequel to this absolute goddamn tripe? This was one of the worst motherfucking movies I have seen this year. While fully recognizing that I am out of the age bracket, I'm still a Ninja Turtles fan. I still appreciate it, and I'm going to say right now that while I don't wish ill on any of the writers or any of the actors, every single voice in this was either phoned in or incredibly infuriating. Everybody, the 4 that voiced the Ninja Turtles, as opposed to the 8 that voiced the Ninja Turtles, and they just swap people out for broken AI programs, which is possible given how bad the dialogue was. There was a bacon, egg, and cheese part that made me think, that's it. Maybe the writer's strike should continue, so films like this should die. But then I realized, holy shit, no, that would mean good films like Talk to Me and a lot of others this year wouldn't have gotten made. So hopefully the writer's strike and the actor's strike is over very soon, and the studio stop being greedy. They spent $70 million on this, and I would like to know why. It looks like shit. It looks like absolute shit. I'm sorry, this animation style was not for me. It didn't flow well. It was choppy. It was like they were taking pages of a comic book and just flipping them and making like animations, kind of like the Marvel graphic entrance. So that made sense. That some people would like it and some people wouldn't like it. But I'm sorry. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, from the first 10 minutes, I was like, I am in so much fucking trouble. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe it'll get better. No, it didn't. Even with the talent in this cast. And again, April O'Neil, they made April O'Neil black. Oh no, freak out everybody. Except that's stupid. That's really stupid. Because just read up on Ninja Turtles. Just, read up on stuff. Who cares? Who cares if April's black? Who cares? Who fucking cares? As long as the character's interesting. None of the characters in this are interesting. It requires you to know stuff about the Turtles, which makes sense, while also simultaneously leaving so much out that you don't genuinely care. I mean, they try to throw a whole bunch of references in. There's a underground government agency, ironic for, a movie about turtles that live in a sewer. They're trying to capture mutants, and they're trying to do stuff. They're trying to maybe do good things or terrible things. And also there's a character called Superfly. Super Duper Fly. I can't stand the rain, nor can I stand this movie, that is tired of how the humans have treated him. And it turns out that the heroes and the villains are actually on 2 sides of the same coin. They just want to be accepted. And I want this movie to accept that it has no right to fucking exist. At all. This was an abomination. The story wasn't very good. Yes, acceptance. You should appreciate people who as they are. Regardless of skin tone, that kind of stuff and everything. That makes sense, but the writing in this, it was like everybody just said, we're going to write one line of dialogue, somebody else will write a line of dialogue, but nobody's going to read anybody else's dialogue, so none of the dialogue flows. There's no sense of danger. There's no stakes to bite into. There's nothing good about this. I'm sorry, there's not. Again, fully recognizing I'm out of the age bracket here, but there is no way that this movie has a right to exist. I'm sorry. Now, will it make money in theaters? Probably. I actually would be very surprised if this movie doesn't end up making, in the U.S., around $250 million, because kids are going to like it. Because as a kid once, I wasn't just born a 42-year-old man, shockingly, as bitter as I sometimes can sound. Kids can like stuff and then look back on and say that was really shit, because there's stuff I used to watch as a kid where I'm like, holy shit, this is great, or holy shit, how did I watch this? That being said, are there any positives? No, not really. No, the jokes don't land. They land with a resounding thud, like they were falling from the top of the Kemper Arena. Look out. Or they landed with all the they just kept taking their shot, like they were the Von Erichs or whatever, or they kept just snorting the good ideas up their nose, like Gino Hernandez. Look at me throwing wrestling references in for no reason. I didn't have high expectations going into this, admittedly, but I ended up not even having those expectations met. I'm like, just entertain me. John Cena meant nothing. Seth Rogen, who is talented, who is funny. I really would like to know what the pitch was for this. Hey, we're going to make a Ninja Turtles movie. We're going to make it really, really bad. We're going to make it really, really fucking bad. That's what they end up doing. That's what they end up goddamn doing. It just didn't work at all. Splinter's trying to protect them from the outside world, where Soundgarden wanted to blow up the outside world. God, if only this movie had been blown up. Just the movie. Not the people, just the movie. And start over. Just find something else to do other than this tripe. Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. The plot really is non-existent. The dialogue is crap, and the voice acting is not particularly all that good. So let's get into spoilers. It's in theaters. If you want to check it out, do it. Why not? Spoilers. So, this government agency tries to get a guy that's using mutagen ooze. They do an ooze joke later in the movie that made me want to punch every single one of them in the fucking face because it was terrible. Seth Rogen is funny, and if Seth Rogen had anything to do with the comedy in this, he clearly has checked the fuck out. 5 writers for this, by the way. But anyway, there's a professor. He is trying to create something. There is a fly that ends up getting mutated. Rescues a whole bunch of people, including Bebop and Rocksteady, and Leatherhead, and various other. Rose Byrne, who's, again, gorgeous. Wish we could have actually seen Rose Byrne in a better movie. She's been in 2 bad movies in the last month. Insidious, the Red Green Door was the other one. The Turtles, then, are living with Splinter in the sewer. They do shopping, not paying for shit, stealing shit. They could leave money. I don't know where they would get the money, but nevertheless, there are criminals that are doing all this stuff, and all these mutants are bubbling up, and Super Duper Fly is using goons to get this ooze stuff and get this machinery that he's going to make a machine to mutate every single goddamn human and animal and turn them into mutants. That's just the plot of the first X-Men movie in 2000. I'm not saying even that one was wholly original, but good job. You ripped off something that isn't even 25 years old. April O'Neil gets her scooter stolen. The Turtles figure out how to fight. They get the scooter back for her. She agrees, hey, wait a second. I want to help you, and I want to tell a news story, because the reason I want to tell a news story is I want to impress people in high school, and also because when I did the morning announcements, I puked. I puked like one of the zombie versions of the Metal Slug characters. If you remember that, as a real deep goddamn cut. It was funny. It wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. I hated this. I absolutely hated this movie. But nevertheless, what they end up doing is they agree to pair up, and then the Turtles basically lie to Splinter. Jackie Chan was totally wasted here. Totally goddamn wasted here. And none of the comedy worked. None of it. Landed with a resounding thud. It was like they publicly executed every single bit of comedy every time they opened their mouths. And the Turtles they're going to go on this trip. They're going to find Superfly. And they agree to be part of his group and find out more about his plan. Then they agree to be part of his group. But then they realize, shit, we can't do that. And then Superfly ends up getting upset at them, and then they go on this long, lengthy chase, as opposed to a short, lengthy chase, that really stylistically should have worked, but no, didn't. And I'm not even saying the animators didn't do a good job, but this just didn't look good. This did not look good at all. They end up kind of wrecking shit, but Superfly gets away with the goddamn thing, goes all the way up, goes all the way to an abandoned ship that is his lair. All his goons are working with him. But after talking to the turtles and realizing they're like, you know what, maybe we don't want to do this stuff. And Superfly's wanting to kill all the humans, destroy all humans, is that video game or possibly a couple video games. I don't actually remember if Destroy All Humans got a sequel. If it did, I don't know why. It wasn't very good. But nevertheless, the turtles end up getting there. Splinter ends up helping them because he has to rescue them from this evil, evil scientist woman that was leading the charge to stop the professor, and how Superfly was created. And why are they doing this? Why are they doing all this stuff and trying to drain the turtles of their life force ooze? They did that ooze thing. I hate it. Every single one of them should have been slapped until they did it better. That's unfair. They're kids. It's not their fault. Slap the writers. It's their fault. So, they get together. They turn everybody against Superfly. They stop Superfly by bashing him in the machine. Then the machine with all the ooze falls in the ocean. And then he ends up fusing with a whale and then a whole bunch of other animals in a zoo. This all happens, by the way. This reminds me of if they made the Super Mario Brothers movie but took all the animations, pizzazz, and the humor. Even if all the humor didn't land, they took the fun, frenetic energy and basically said, we're going to shit on that. We're going to make this. So yeah, he mutates into a giant whale, fly, horse-laden, animal-laden creature. And also there are these guns that are used, these anti-mutant guns, that they must use to destroy him. They must take this, shot, and they must throw it into his blowhole, this radioactive blowhole. Because it's like Attack on Titan. They reference Attack on Titan with all the subtlety of a goddamn hammer to the head. I would have taken a hammer to my own head, but that probably would have hurt, and I would rather not do that. I almost would have rather taken a hammer to my head rather than continue to watch this. Hey, maybe I could have been a hammerhead shard. Because this movie was a shard. Full of goddamn shard. So yeah, they end up killing Superfly. And oh my god, April was able to save the day. The turtles are seen as heroes. There's like one halfway decent scene where Splinter does a bunch of karate and martial arts and kung fu fighting. And this rat was fast as lightning. And then he ends up destroying, or stopping the humans, getting the bad agent people, and then ends up rescuing the turtles. And then all that stuff happens, and he gets help from humans to get the bar back to the little baton deal. It's like, that did not look like a baton the way I did that. And he tosses it in the blowhole, and then he gets thrown back. He's an anti-mutant, and now he's just a little fly. Oh, little fly, help me, help me. And then the turtles go off on a new adventure. They're going to high school. They're with April. Leonardo really likes April, wants to go to prom with her. And other things are happening. And then we go to the mid-credits scene where the crew, the people are still together. And if you noticed in the beginning, they kind of look like the Foot Clan. They sort of look like the Foot Clan. There's one way to capture them. What? Or it's like, and she's like, you're right. Get me the Shredder. Dun, dun, dun. That's why Shredder wasn't in this, because Shredder was a sequel hook. F. Get the fucking F. How dare you? How fucking dare you? Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ricklin. I'll see you soon.